Tarot can be used to gain a deeper understanding of your zodiac sign. Each sign is related to certain cards in both the major and the minor arcana, with the major arcana cards being representative of overarching character traits or big picture concepts, and the minor arcana being representative of specific details and personalized experiences. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the cards associated with the sign Scorpio. Make sure to stay tuned and watch for all of the other signs as well, so that in your next tarot reading, when you want to learn who you're going to marry or which one of your friends is talking about you behind your back, you'll know all of the astrological connections for each card. Scorpio is most commonly associated with the Death card in Tarot's major arcana. As with the zodiac sign Scorpio itself, this card is often very misunderstood. It can sometimes scare people who are not familiar with tarot symbology, but this card isn't a bad omen for Scorpios. So let me explain about that first before we get into anything else. Death is not a negative card at all. It's actually symbolic of releasing negative things, or releasing things that have simply outworn their usefulness in your life. It's notable in this card that the Grim Reaper figure isn't wearing his classic flowing robes or cloak as he is often depicted elsewhere in other artwork. In the original design for the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, he's wearing protective armor, like the exoskeleton of the Scorpion. I recently did a deep dive into the mythological background and meaning related to the Scorpion as a representative of Scorpio energy. You can find the link for that video in the description. There's a self-protectiveness and a self-preservation quality inherent in Scorpio, which manifests as a sort of metaphorical armor you wear to protect your more vulnerable and sensitive side. Scorpio is a deeply emotional water sign, and the tough exterior functions to keep you safe from the harshest aspects of life, so that no matter how many times you get knocked down, you always have that strength and resilience to rise again. That is the truest expression of Scorpio power, your invincibility of spirit. The symbology here is about the cyclical nature of all things. Death is the ending of the life cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. What comes right after an ending is a new beginning. So this card is fundamentally about Scorpio's regenerative powers. The Death card asks you to embrace every loss, every failure, every heartbreak, because on the other side of that is going to be a fresh start. Scorpio is also tangentially associated with the Tower. This card is said to represent the planetary energy of Mars, Scorpio's traditional ruling planet. The Tower depicts lightning striking a building, which is then enveloped in flames and destruction. This card often carries connotations of misfortune in the same way Mars is classified as a malefic or unfortunate planet in astrology. This doesn't in any way mean that this zodiac sign is necessarily unfortunate. Scorpios typically wind up being quite wise, strong, and powerful, but that strength often comes from overcoming certain challenges or hardships in life. The strength in Scorpio tends to be forged in the heat of a certain amount of turmoil or conflict. So the Tower card represents the conflict that is sometimes present in the life of a Scorpio, which galvanizes you and helps you to level up in some way. Now we'll move on to the minor arcana, which is arguably way more fascinating. It was ancient Egyptian astrologers who subdivided each zodiac sign into 3 sections with distinctive energies that offer more nuance than the overarching generalizations that can be made about an entire sign. These sections were then later assigned associations with specific cards in Tarot's minor arcana. If you're watching for your sun sign, then the segments can be broken down into ranges of birth dates as shown on screen. If you're an advanced astrology student and you know how to read a chart, then these subsections are simply identified by dividing any zodiac sign into 3 equal segments with 10 degrees each. So the first section is comprised of 0 through 9 degrees of the sign and so on. You can look at any placement in your chart which falls within a particular span of degrees and consult the corresponding tarot card. If you were born between October 23rd and November 1st, or you have any placements at 0 through 9 degrees of Scorpio in your birth chart, then the 5 of Cups is your card. This card calls you to practice radical acceptance and cultivate gratitude. We see the figure in the card who is upset that some of his cups are knocked over over and empty. Yet in his grief, he doesn't realize that some are still standing full and waiting for him. Of all the minor arcana cards, this one really plays into the overarching themes present in the Death card. There's a concept in certain spiritual philosophies that the measure of a good life is how gracefully we let go of things that were not meant for us. You absolutely do have the potential for success, but not every path is going to lead you there. Part of your destiny surrounds learning to recognize and release those pursuits that are not meant for you, so that you can embrace what is meant for you. Scorpio is a sign that gets let down a lot. You've suffered some pretty heartbreaking disappointments probably. And of course you need to allow yourself the space to mourn what could have been in those cases. But the danger is dwelling too much on misfortunes. You have opportunity in other directions. Turn your attention towards these areas of your life. Trust that when something doesn't work out, it's the universe's way of gently guiding you away from that and towards something that will be even better. If you were born between November 2nd and November 11th, or you have any placements at 10 through 19 degrees of Scorpio, then the Six of Cups is your card. This is a beautiful card which speaks to innocence, gentleness, emotional attachment, and unconditional love. This particular group of Scorpios is especially sensitive. You wish the world was a kinder and simpler place. I often find that this group had a very close attachment to someone in their youth, and this attachment ended in some kind of loss or betrayal of trust, which deeply shapes your relationships throughout life. You struggle with being vulnerable in an effort to protect your sensitive inner child who was so hurt by that experience. This card calls you to stay in touch with your gentle, loving, open-hearted spirit. Don't bury that part of you as a response of whatever past heartbreak you've experienced. Your destiny is to keep that sacred part of yourself alive and keep it safe until you find someone truly worthy of sharing it with. Scorpios are often a bit of a lone wolf. You prefer quality over quantity when it comes to who you surround yourself with. You would likely prefer to be alone than in bad company, but you're going to eventually find that one person who can share this kind of sweet, unconditional love with you. This card asks you to hold out hope and remain open to that connection when it shows up in your life. If you were born between November 12th and November 21st, or you have any placements at 20 through 29 degrees of Scorpio, then the Seven of Cups is your card. This is a card of possibilities. In the image, some cups are filled with treasure and some are filled with dangerous threats. This card touches upon the uniquely Scorpio ability to identify possible threats intuitively. Sometimes people who lack this innate skill may accuse you of being overly suspicious or pessimistic, imagining threats where there are none. But your instinct is typically accurate, and you are an exceptionally good judge of character, being able to gauge the true motives and agendas of others fairly quickly. It's kind of an inside joke amongst astrologers that Scorpios are like human lie detectors. You always know when something shady is going on, or when somebody has nefarious intentions. You have a talent for delving into mysteries, wanting to get to the heart of things, exploring every possible angle, and leaving no stone unturned. This card encourages you to dig deeper and not get distracted by surface-level facades. Remain vigilant and focused on the underlying truth or reality in every situation. From that state of mind, you can easily envision different possible outcomes, seeing threats from afar and giving you the benefit of being able to prepare and protect yourself. Thank you so much for listening, Scorpio. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, comment if you have any questions, share this with your friends or other Scorpios in your life, and please subscribe. I would be so happy to have you with me.